Hello, 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 everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back. We're going to be reading part 8, which is the last part in Living Untethered by Michael Singer. And we're going to be talking about living a life of acceptance. Sorry, I think the last part we read had to do with letting go. Part 8, living a life of acceptance. So we're going to start with chapter 35, dealing with blocked energies. So in our previous chapters, the author tells us a lot about what blocked energies are. He does talk a little bit about how to help yourself, but in this chapter, we're going to move forward with more techniques and things we can do to unblock our energies. We did talk about a meditation in the last video, which I did try, and his recommendation was to pay attention to your breath and then to start counting your breaths. Inhale, exhale 1, inhale, exhale 2, to keep your mind focused on something. And if it starts to wander, you just start over again and you just do it a few times. You don't want to count to 100, you want to count to 25 because it keeps you aware. You're not just losing yourself in counting. And it was a little bit more of a challenge than I thought it would be. Your mind starts to go places and you're like, are those even my thoughts? It's wild, but I can absolutely say I did not do 15 minutes. I did about 5 minutes and I stopped right there. And I was okay with that. You have to start somewhere. If you try to dive right in with anything in life, dieting, a new hobby, meditation, and you go too hard, you get burnt out and or you get discouraged because you're not getting the results that you think you should be seeing right away. We live in a time of impatience. No patience to wait, no patience to listen. Everything is given to us or delivered to us quickly, and that can come at a detriment to us because when it comes to helping ourselves, that does take time. Growth takes time, and if you truly want to grow, that will depend on how much effort you put into your spiritual journey, which of course affects every aspect of your life. And everyone is in a different stage as far as how much they're willing to do, if anything at all. The fact that you're here and listening says you're at least open to it. When or if you ever start practicing any of the things you learn, totally up to you. All right, so chapter 35, dealing with blocked energies. One thing is for certain, we are all conscious inside. The question is, what are we conscious of? Pretty much everyone is aware that they are constantly changing energies within that can be overwhelming at times. Even if they don't understand the energies to stay upright in life, people either push the energies away or try to release them through outer expression. Though both of these efforts cause their own sets of problems, they are better than drowning inside. When people are actually drowning in water, what do? They try to grab for something solid, like a board floating by, so they don't sink. That is how most people live their lives. They are grabbing onto whatever they can so they don't drown. Generally, what they're grabbing onto is something outside themselves. They think that if others respected them more and treated them better, it wouldn't be so caustic inside. If someone would just truly love them and be loyal to them, then they'd be okay. The problem is, if they manage to get what they want, they will grab a hold for dear life and never let go, which creates its own issues. Even worse, if the outside world ever stops giving them what they want, they will start to drown again. If you want to see how much you cling to the outside world in order to avoid drowning inside, just see what happens when the world doesn't unfold the way you expect. What happens when someone very close to you behaves in a way that doesn't align with your model? Your mind and heart catch fire. This happens if the person hasn't actually done anything. All that is needed is for your mind to think. What if my husband leaves me? Sally's husband left her. If Sam ever left me, I would just die. That's all it takes, and you feel pain and disturbance. All the energies become unsettled inside. Why does this happen? It happens because you've been trying to build a place of solidity within your mind that you can hold on to. As long as everything reasonably reinforces that, you feel safe and relatively okay. But you have distanced yourself from the core of your being by clinging to something outside. That's what we do, and it doesn't work. If you want to grow spiritually, if you want to have a beautiful life instead of a midlife crisis, you need to do the inner work. A midlife crisis happens when you've been building and clinging and fighting for half your life in order to be okay, and you're not okay. You're simply not free and at peace inside, even though you have the kids, the marriage, the job. As it turns out, midlife crises are perfectly reasonable. It's surprising more people don't have them. Halfway through your life, you realize it hasn't worked. You're still not okay. Sure, you're okay as long as the spouse behaves, the kids do well in school, and you get respect at your job. As long as all this happens and your finances hold up, you're conditionally okay. But inside, you know it can change on a dime, so you must keep struggling to stay ahead. That's why life is a struggle. The alternative is to clean up the mess inside. Someday you will realize you are not drowning. You're simply sitting on a planet spinning around the middle of absolutely nowhere. That's the truth of the matter. The Cassini spacecraft took a picture of the Earth from 2 million miles out. The Earth is just a small dot in the middle of dark, empty space. How can you drop down onto the nicest planet there is and not be okay? We've looked far and wide with our space telescopes, and we haven't found anything anywhere even close to the majesty of Earth. Basically, you won the lottery. You dropped down onto this phenomenal planet that's always exciting, challenging, and growthful. It has all sorts of colors, shapes, and sounds. It's unbelievably amazing. Yet, what do? You suffer. Why? It's not the planet causing you to suffer. It's the stuff you have stored inside. The logical question becomes, why are you storing all this stuff inside you? And if you're going to store stuff inside, why not make it nice stuff? People collect all sorts of things as hobbies. Some collect spoons, teacups, stamps, or coins from all over the world. But you had a brilliant idea for a hobby. Let's collect bad experiences. That's what you did. I'm going to collect every bad experience I ever had and keep it inside me so it can bother me for the rest of my life. How can that work out well? If you keep doing it, you're going to collect more and more bad experiences, and your life will get heavier and heavier. Are you really going to continue making your life so difficult? In essence, you are causing yourself to be unhappy. Then you're going outside and demanding that the world somehow make you happy. The world cannot make you happy while you're inside making yourself unhappy. It's that simple. You have to work on letting go of the root cause of suffering. The spiritual path is always about letting go of yourself, and that means dealing with the blocked energies. The blocked energies inside are going to build up and need release if you don't deal with them. These energies may release in the form of anger, verbal or physical fighting, and other bursts of uncontrollable behavior. When you allow the energies to release unconsciously like this, you're not in charge. The energies will tend to follow the path of least resistance, as determined by the samskaras. When you allow this to happen, the uncontrolled energy carves channels within you that will make it easier to flow that way again. The energy flow becomes a habit. Not only is losing it unhealthy because of what you may say or do outside, but you also increased the probability of losing it in the same way again. This can cause all kinds of trouble. Anytime you're not in charge in there's going to be trouble. It's that simple. Understanding this process of blocking and then expressing energies helps us have compassion for our own past behaviors as well as for others. Compassion means you understand the root cause of people's behavior. People have trouble handling their blocked energies, and in most cases, they have not been taught how to channel the energies to a higher level. There is a higher level of our being, and those lower energies can be raised up. You have access to a much higher way to deal with the inner energies than to simply step aside and let them express. That doesn't mean they should be suppressed. Your choices are not limited to expression or suppression. As we will discuss, there's a third choice, transmutation, and that's where true spirituality comes in. Chapter 36, Transmutation of the Energy. Suppression blocks inner energy, or unchanneled expression wastes its power. The highest use of the energy is transmutation. Most people know nothing about transmuting the energy, yet it is the essence of spirituality. Currently, your natural energy flow is blocked by the samskaras in your lower energy centers. When the energy tries to release, you either push it back down or allow it to blow off some steam externally. This external release solves nothing in the long run. The energy will just build back up behind your blockages. The release is temporary because the cause of the blocked energy has not been addressed. What if, when the energy tries to come up, you see it as an opportunity to get rid of the blockage it's hitting? The energy is going to attempt to release the samskara by pushing it out of the way. The problem is if the blockage was stored with pain, it's going to come back up with pain. Instead of pushing it back down because you can't handle the experience or releasing it outside as a way of relief, you can relax and release at such a deep level that you allow the blockage to pass without resistance. That is what transmutation of the energy means. It involves using the rising energy as a positive force by allowing it to cleanse whatever was blocking it. This is the highest way to work with your inner energy. Use it to grow spiritually. Use it to let go of the blockages that are keeping you trapped. It is those blockages that cause suffering. They only allow you to be okay if things are a certain way. This creates discomfort, anxiety, and fear about life. That discomfort drives people to seek all sorts of distractions, which just causes more turmoil. We all know about this cycle of disturbance and temporary relief. Now you know there is a much higher way to live. If you are willing to release the blockages, over time, the energy will find its way up. It will push the samskaras out of the way, and the next thing you know, you won't even be able to relate to how you used to be. This is especially true about how you used to deal with some people around you. You'll wish you could go back and say, "I am so sorry, I was so lost." You will see how relationships used to be about finding a way to be more comfortable with yourself. Once the blockages begin to clear, the energy will find its way into your heart, and that will comfort and sustain you. Relationships will naturally be about loving and caring. All of them will be about serving others. They will no longer be about control or getting something you need. This is what happens as the energy is free to rise within you. If you release the blockages, the energy will naturally rise higher. You will not have to fight with it. The energy wants to come up. Always remember, the energy wants to go up. You do not have to force it. It is best for long-term spiritual growth if the energy is allowed to rise naturally. When you get blockages out of the way, you will feel a steady upward flow of energy. Eventually, you will realize that the Shakti wishes to express something so beautiful it will leave you breathless. You will begin to know a peace that passeth all understanding. You won't need anything. Your natural state is so beautiful. You are whole and complete within yourself. It simply depends on your willingness to work with the energies. If you do, Shakti will go higher and higher until eventually it moves as fountains of joy, flowing out the higher energy centers. Remember, we talked about Shakti being spirit. There's a lot of terms for it, but he decided to go with the word Shakti. As it does, your entire relationship with this world will transform into something very beautiful. What you were trying to get from the outside will now naturally be going on inside. You will become filled with love and ecstasy. Again, Christ described this as, "Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God." Matthew 4, verses 4. You will have a perpetual flow of energy feeding you from within. The transmutation of the inner energy flow is the answer to all the world's woes. If people felt whole inside and were fed by the constant flow of love and deep peace, they wouldn't be fighting with each other. Why would you kill, rob, or harm someone if you were content with yourself? It is only because people are struggling inside that they are driven to struggle outside. That's the only reason we need so many rules and laws. People left to their own create great trouble struggling with their inner disturbances. There is something much higher within us, and it happens to be our natural state. You're a beautiful being, a truly awe-inspiring being, but you can't reflect that beauty if you're not okay. No matter how beautiful you are, if you are trying not to drown, you're not going to seem so beautiful. To stop struggling once and for all, work on letting go of the blockages. A spiritual being views life as follows. I came down to the planet Earth for a short time, and these are the experiences I got to have. They were challenging, but I handled them, and I'm better off because of them. You don't suppress your issues, and you don't allow them to become the foundation of your life. A past issue is just one of the many things that happened to help you grow. You don't need to know why it happened. You don't need to analyze its cause and effect from a karmic point of view. All sorts of things happen every day, and you don't understand why they happen. Yet you are comfortable handling them. You only insist on understanding the events that you can't comfortably handle. Understanding becomes a crutch, a sort of rationalization. If the mind can't fit an event into its conceptual model, it insists on knowing why it happened. Better to accept reality first, then work with it in a constructive manner. You are the self. You are the conscious witness of all that passes before you. You dwell deep inside, and nothing in there is more powerful than you. You have free will. Use it to accept what has already happened rather than letting past events mess up the rest of your life. Free yourself from these samskaras. Transmute your blocked energy flow into a powerful spiritual force. I'm just going to take a look here at what we have left, since this is our last section of the book. Okay, I can do one more chapter because the last two are a bit longer. So chapter 37, the power of intent. You are capable of letting go at a very deep level if you really want to. It is not a question of ability. It depends on intensity of intent. Inner work is different from outer work. In the outside world, there are things you may not be able to accomplish because of physical limitations. Try as you will, you cannot pick up a mountain or run at the speed of light. You have physical limitations. But inside, you have no such limitations because there is no physical aspect to self. You are pure consciousness, and your will has complete dominion over mind and emotions. As we have seen, most of your thoughts and emotions are created by the blockages you have stored inside. These blockages are yours, and you can let them go anytime you want. Once again, the problem is that since they were stored with pain, they are going to release with pain. That is where the depth of commitment comes in. Do you want to be free to live a deep, beautiful life more than you want to avoid discomfort? Plenty of drug addicts have gone through the pain of withdrawal to get their lives back. It comes down to the old adage, when there's a will, there's a way. You can let your blockages go if you really want to. What would you be willing to go through for the most fulfilling love relationship, a constant state of well-being, and the ability to feel the presence of God flowing through you at all times? How would you answer? Would you say, I'm too busy and I don't like any discomfort? Or would you meet the challenge and say, anything? I would be willing to go through anything to permanently live in such a state. Fortunately, you have the ability. That is not the problem. But do you have the strength of intent to take the deep spiritual journey to liberation? Will is like a muscle. You build it by exercising it. Practice saying, I'm the boss in here. This is my house. I'm the only one living in here, and I have the right to make it a nice place to live. It's not about becoming a control freak in there. It's about learning to surrender. Surrender is not about suppression, and it's not about control. Surrender is about letting go of weakness and being committed enough to carry out your intent. Surrender is handling anything that needs to be released inside and letting it pass through. Sorry, my son is playing in the living room. Remember, it was you who willfully resisted past events, which caused samskaras to be stored. Why not learn to willfully relax and release as the blockages cleanse so you can experience the beautiful inner energy flow as it is meant to be? If you practice letting go of your blockages, not only will you get to live in an elevated inner state, you will also become a blessing on the earth. Any place you go, anything you do, you will carry a blessing for others. If you stay with this process every day, you will get there. Put time aside to remind yourself who you are and to recall your commitment to cleaning up inside. Morning and evening practices will help you do this. It doesn't have to be much time, just enough to relax and release. Come back to center and remember to use every moment of your life to let go of your blockages. If you do that, the rest will happen by itself. It is a natural process that will take place. Always remember, it is Spirit's job to liberate you from yourself. Shakti wants to be free, but you're in the way. When Shakti starts to push the blockages up, you're going to have the tendency to push them back down because it's uncomfortable. It's not comfortable, to live in that fire. You stored past disturbances in there, and it doesn't feel good when they are stirred up. Imagine that somebody's talking to you and you're feeling strong and confident about the conversation. Suddenly they say something that hits your blockages and you start to feel your strength drop out from under you. If you are sincere, you use the situation for your growth. It's not the time to argue with the person, it's the time to grow spiritually. Calm and centered, you inwardly ask, what's happening inside of me? What blockage got hit that caused this shift in energy to take place? Then, to use the situation for growth, you relax and allow the energy to push the blockage up. You don't have to do anything except not interfere with the process. Shakti will do her job of pushing up. You have to do your job of letting go. To remember to do this in the moment, establish the practice of recalling your intention every morning. The purpose of my day is letting go of my blockages and evolving spiritually. Then every evening, remember, the purpose of my day was to let go of my blockages and evolve spiritually. Never complain about what happened. Just inwardly release the events of the day so they don't leave samskaras. Don't let anything remain stuck in there. Once you get good at this, you will learn to do it throughout the day. Do your best with each interaction, then let it go. Always remember what's going on. You're in there and something is happening that's causing the energy to shift inside. Your tendency is to push it away if you don't like it or grab onto it if you do. It's as if you have hands in there and you use them to try to control the inner experience. Surrender means don't do that. That's all it means. It means you're ready, willing, and able to sit in the seat of consciousness when the energy shifts and just let it go. Your interaction with the energy is similar to when you decide to stop smoking or break any bad habit. You're going to feel the tendency to resume the habit. It feels like a magnetic pull on you to go in that direction. The same thing happens when a blockage gets hit. It has attractive power that draws you into it. You need to see that. You need to notice that it keeps pulling on you, and sometimes it won't leave you alone. That's not bad. That's not good. Just relax more. It's all about relaxing. If you're using your will to relax, you can't use your inner hands to push energy away or grab onto it. Someday you're going to remember this discussion. Something is going to wake up inside and you'll know just what we've been talking about. You'll observe the energy pulling on you and you will try to let it go. For the first time, you'll realize what is actually happening. You are struggling with yourself. You are both sides of the struggle. Part of you wants to let go, but part still wants to give in to the pull of the energy. Once you sincerely want to let go of the old habitual energy flows, you will realize that you have all the power you need inside. You're the only one living in there. You just need to deeply relax and stop fighting with yourself. At that point, something amazing is going to happen. All the energy that was pulling you down and out changes direction. It begins to lift you in and up. This is the transmutation of the energy, and it is real. As liberation becomes the meaning of your life, this inner process will step up significantly. Once you learn that your center of intent is stronger than any of the habitual energy flows caused by your samskaras, you will sit quietly within in the seat of consciousness and allow the process of purification to take place. Every day, every moment, you have the opportunity to explore the greatness of your being. Letting go like this is not a struggle or an act of control. It is much subtler than that. Perhaps this analogy will help. Imagine you're in a game of tug-of-war. You are alone on one end of the rope and an entire NFL football team is on the other end. You're in big trouble. The force pulling you in the team's direction is very strong. You've studied all the latest techniques for how to dig in your heels, how to best use your body weight, and anything else the experts could teach about standing your ground in a tug of war. You're doing all the techniques, but they're not working. Suddenly, Yoda, the great sage from Star Wars, shows up to help. He thinks everyone's name is Luke. So Yoda says, "Luke, you know not how to do this. Let go, Luke." Luke says, "What do you mean, let go? If I let go, they will pull me through the mud head first." Yoda says, "Let go, you must." Luke says, "I don't get it. How do I just let go when this great force is pulling on me?" Yoda says, "Relax hands, Luke. Relax your hands." Luke says, "No, not hands. Feet, legs, and body position. That's how to end this tug of war." Yoda says, "Over it will be, Luke, if you relax your hands." Turns out it's true. If you relax your hands during a tug of war, the struggle will immediately be over. No more rope, no more pull. No matter how strong the pull is, if you relax your hands, you can go home and have lunch. That's all you really wanted to begin with. Who said you had to take the whole football team home with you? Just relax and let go, and the whole struggle will be over. That's exactly what it's like to surrender. You're in there, and the energy is pulling you into it. Please don't fight it. Just relax your inner hands and let go. If this sounds very zen, good, because it is. You don't need to be strong. You need not to be wise. You don't need to be strong. You need to be wise. I feel like I was starting to talk like Yoda. The blocked energy can't take you anywhere if you simply relax and let go. Over time, you will find there is a place inside you that is behind the commotion of the storm. You can simply relax and fall back into that place. This is the place from which you are noticing the inner commotion, and this place is still, quiet, and there are never any storms. That is the seat of self. You don't find your way back to self, you simply cease to leave. If you work on this, you will come to a beautiful state within that is always there for you. It is a place of refuge, and all you ever need to do is keep letting go. That is the life of surrender. All right. So we'll stop right there for today and read the last 2 chapters in part 8 in the last segment of Living Untethered by Michael Singer. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you again very soon for the last part of this book. And until next time, please take care of yourself. Please take care of those around you. Take care of in here. Start with you. Work from the inside out, and I will see you again very soon for our last segment. Take care. Bye-bye.